Welcome to another video with me, Onyx, and I guess it's been a while, so it's welcome to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx, and let's get into this. So, the whole point of this video is kind of about spiritual bypassing, but it's also just good information. It's about going through your chakras and having an ascension process. And it's actually essential if you want to really understand Western mystery, if you want to understand whatever spiritual discipline that you're working in, whatever your spiritual path is, at some point you need to go through an ascension process. Especially, I would call it the new age. Could be any spiritual teaching uh westernized. So any far east spiritual teaching westernized or made into materialism, like law of attraction, how to manifest relationships, working with chakras, anything, energy work. Uh, and so I would say everywhere there's a lot of problems going on. And people who are usually leaving a religion because reality differs than that, they find the religious system not working for them, find themselves going into mystical practices. Um, but they're doing it from that hypocritical religious view, or the just the Western view. The Western view just thinks you can learn it and copy, paste, repeat it, mimic it, and kind of have those experiences, and you're good to go. So they kind of view it as, I would almost say, a business plan. They have a target, an objective, and they have to acquire these goals. And that could be status, money, wealth, and certain experiences. Then that qualifies them for that plaque on their door called whatever that is, spiritual practitioner. Uh, and yes, you can go right ahead and do that. And if that's for you, go for it. Hold on, let me push pause. So if that is you and you're like, yes, I'm really more interested into manifesting money and the material stuff and just gathering information and dispensing it and maybe being popular, uh, good for you. Someone needs to fulfill that position. But for others, they want to maybe have a connection with the divine. They want to maybe transcend the physical reality, they might have bigger goals. And a part of that is a kind of an ascension process, deprogramming yourself and opening yourself up to new energy. And the reason why it's so essential is because it can be overwhelming. You may have come out of a simple religious experience where you go to heaven or hell. That's it. Very black and white. There's good, there's evil. Black and white. It's just kind of straightforward. Follow these rules. You're set. This is the way the world is. This is what's expected of you. Be a good person. Forgive. And now you've entered the new age magical world where there's spells, rituals, crystals, aliens. Like, how does this all fit together? There's Native American spirituality blended with a Far East chakra system. And there's all these people saying they're psychic, there's pendulums and tarot cards, and anything could be magical now. And then to top it all off, uh, They have their own mythology of creation and how it is and why we're here, and there's a purpose. Oh my gosh, there's a divine mission and I need to go heal the world. Or I come from a different star system and timeline and I've been projected in the past to help humanity. That's a lot. You're like, I thought I'd just go to work, come home, say my prayers, try to be good, forgive, and be a better citizen. And how does it all fit together? Then you may be going to events and you find out the person from sitting next to you in the group has been laundering or stealing money the whole time, or this person has been uh, in doing something very nefarious. And so you find out there's corruption in your own little spiritual group, and you're like, how do I deal with that? I thought we were all going on this boat to a happier, better place. I thought we were all learning and growing together. Turns out you were here just for the food and drinks. Turns out you were here just to steal from everyone else. Turns out you just wanted attention, so you wanted to talk. And then you might feel even farther lost, you know? Or you might be like, I'm trying to reclaim my ancestral roots and I'm doing some African magic, or I'm doing some Native American stuff. And you find the same thing happening. So you find out, okay, I'm just around a bunch of people who are gathering, probably because they're lonely and they want attention and they have no friends. And we find out they have behavioral problems and mental disorders, and some of them are crazy and they're having visions of deities. And you're like, am I broken? What's wrong with me? I'm not having these experiences. I'm not, having visitations by angels, or, you know, I'm not reading some magical star language and seeing fractal geometry when I close my eyes. So maybe I need more plant medicine. Maybe the drug dealer who's now the local shaman who's licensed under a religion is telling me I need more drugs till I throw up and have the same trip that everyone else is having. Now I'm getting somewhere, and then you find out you were probably better off just going to work, saying your prayers, paying your bills, and kind of keeping to yourself. And so your experience into the New Age magical world had just as many problems and was just as dangerous, and maybe even more so, because now they're asking you to open up your heart, give, open up your energy, let people play in your energy. And, that's kind of dangerous territory. So, to bring this all in, now that we've kind of talked about these dangers of going out and adventuring into the magical spiritual world, and we haven't even left our bodies yet. We haven't even learned to astral project. And look how dangerous it was just with the people around you. The corruption, the I'll call it low vibes. And so how do you navigate through this? But you can use some things from your religion to help you be better at this than other people who don't have a religious background. And what it is discipline. You might be very disciplined and have made it a habit to pray every night. That discipline can help you through whatever magical system you're doing. So I'd say don't give that up. there, or you can integrate these disciplines. Maybe you went to church every Sunday. You can take that same discipline, that same devotion that you did uh, towards your practice of working with your energy. So maybe you read the Bible and you studied. You can now read spiritual texts. You can now study other cultures and take it just as serious and grow. Learn the history of how Shinto, uh, the kind of like spiritual faith slash religion, uh, came into existence. You can learn about Taoism. You can learn about all kinds of things out there. And so you can take it on as a real class. Let's see, expand your view. Uh, and then that could bring balance to your life, because in New Age world, if it seems to be a lot of what I call spiritual bypassing, which means there's a spell for that, there's a nice story to make you feel better, but doesn't really address the issues, and kind of there's a little dark psychology going on. Everyone's saying, oh, it's a mirror, it's your fault, and they don't really understand how to process their shadow material, their inner child woundings, their personal history, you know? And so it can be a very dangerous place to be there, to be psychologically abused in by people who don't understand. And so you can spare yourself through your ascension process. Onyx, what do you mean by ascension process? If you've ever watched one of my meditation videos, I tell you the first thing you have to do is ground. The second thing you have to do is center. The third thing you have to do is align. The fourth thing you have to do is open up. Open up and then receive. And so the base chakra. So the chakra system works really good as a simple, a simple plan to organize a, a system, to organize a method of how we're gonna meditate or how we're gonna ascend. So when you start practicing sitting still, grounding, and sometimes you have to kind of center first. You're like, whoa, I can't even ground. I need to get centered. I can't even get centered. I need to ground first. The first thing you're doing is you're calling your energy and yourself back to your body. And you're feeling the weight of your body in whatever seated or position that you're in. When you feel the weight and you start bringing your attention back to your body, all your wild emotions, your hysteria, your anxiety, your overthinking starts to calm down. And you're shifting your focus from all that chaos, that scattered energy, and you're bringing it back to self. When you do that, it's kind of like a flower pot. And now that the flower pot has been tipped or shaking and everything's falling out, now that you've centered it, now that you've set it down on the little table, all the contents can go in it. When all the contents, what you're experiencing is being centered. Second chakra. Being centered in yourself, being centered in your body, starts to automatically detach you from things that are plaguing your mind and things that are in your emotions, other people's energies, situations. So now that you're grounded and centered, the plant starts to naturally realign itself with gravity and the sky and the sun, and your spine is the plant, obviously. Now you start to feel good in this position. You can start to breathe and you're aligning. So it's a vertical alignment. And now that you're starting to feel good in that position, you naturally start to soften and open up and feel better. So you've given yourself a healing just by learning to sit or stand properly. You learn your a sensation starts to come to you. It's a quality of peace, a quality of ease, a quality of, okay, now this feels so good. My body is settled. It doesn't want to move. Now it'd take more effort to get up. So you might as well stay and receive a healing. You might as well breathe and relax. So the quality is you're starting to experience yourself and your energy. And you're starting what we call being and being present. You're now here. And when you're in the present moment and you're living in the now, your energy starts to flow correctly. And really, that's what happens. Your mind starts to calm. You're like, well, I might as well close my eyes. Your senses, your five senses that were out into the world, start to come back to you. So it's like we're feeling a jar, or feeling that. We're feeling up with ourselves. It takes a lot of energy. We're always pouring out of ourselves. We pour out to see, we pour out to hear, we pour out to smell, we physically pour out all this energy and to interact with others. There's all this pouring out. So the receiving starts to happen as we open up our bodies in a comfortable position. And as we settle into this moment, we're dialing in. And so if you've been having a hard time connecting with higher beings, whether they're guides, angels, they don't even need a name. It could be because you're not taking enough time to sit still physically. Our planet is spinning, and our solar system is spinning, and our universe is spinning, and you don't want to sit still for 1 second. How are they going to dial in and beam you the energy you need if you're never in a predictable place? So showing up every day in the same position, at the same hour, at the same time, puts you in a predictable situation where they can guess where you're going to be and beam you the healing energy that you need. All you had to do is commit to yourself to receive. See how simple spirituality is. No need to go out into the universe and find it. It will all come to you. So what happens is you become a magnet and you attract all that you need. You need wisdom and guidance? Boom, you attract it through being centered and grounded. The more you strengthen your grounding and your centering abilities, the stronger the magnetic pull you create. You could drag down a spaceship when you master it. And see that element of fun and play there? It needs to be there. Some people, like religious people, have learned it's a life or death situation. The situation you're in, one lifetime to be saved, or there's a lot of pressure put on you to learn spiritual lessons and be a good person and die in peace and go to heaven. That's a lot of pressure. Let's just handle this moment, which is different. And can we personally do something about it? Yes. So the reality of it is meditation is the master key for everything that you'll ever desire and need in life. The more you invest in your seated sessions, the faster and deeper and broader and more personal power you will have. It is the master key. So whatever your situation is, I don't know what to do about my relationship. I know exactly what to do. Sit down. Ground, center, align. receive, stop thinking. Oh my gosh. We ruin our brains, we ruin relationships by overthinking. And so it becomes this vicious cycle where lower emotions like fear and anxiety and stress kick up the dirty water. And all that mud is like thinking, and the water is splashing, and you're panicking, and you're like, I don't know how to swim, I don't know how to. Just relax. And if you, so it's either you're going to end up not thinking so much and the emotions will settle, or you're going to learn to not overvalue your emotions, not live in them, and they will settle and then the thinking will settle. So it's either or. So some people call this synchronization uh, or coherence. But you can basically say, my body feels, my mind, I should say brain, thinks. Both of these activities, you're going to transcend them instead of thinking of things of fear and panic and of these situations that you're trying to fix in the 3D world. They're not going to be part of your sit sessions, your meditation. The best way to start turning off all this crap is to start listening. What I like to listen to is nothing. Try to hear nothing. It's like a game. Try to see nothing. Try to hear nothing. Try to feel nothing. And so this fun game shifts your focus of the actual sensations. Your body is a sensation machine. It's like a high tech, sensitive sensory organ, and it's here to help you navigate the physical world. Could you imagine if it was turned on all the time, how worn out and how quickly worn out it would get? So, the way to find that magical switch is to turn the senses inward or give them the other task. So, the new directive is I will now see, what does nothing look like? If I could see nothing, what would I see? Is nothing itself something? What does hearing nothing sound like, taste like, feel like? So you could play that game for a few minutes. And the goal really isn't to turn it all off. I mean, if you can, great. But your real goal is to experience beingness, your own presence, your own being. Now, something magical really happens. So, we're moving up these chakras. We have the base chakra, we've grounded. With the second chakra, which is actually how you relate to other people, the Buddha is always talking about detachment. How you do it is by being centered, because you're centered back into yourself. You're not reaching out anymore. So we've taken care of the second chakra. The third chakra is alignment. And this is actually kind of a tricky one because it really also encapsulates the essence of self appreciation. When you truly appreciate yourself, when you truly enjoy you, and you feel the gratitude of being you, having your experience, having an opportunity to experience yourself, your third chakra is working. There is a positive energy flowing now. So you've actually ascended the second chakra. The second chakra is everything in relationship with you. But the third chakra is you in relationship with yourself. And I feel like this has been misunderstood, or at least it has been for me. It's the self appreciation. You have to have this before you can actually have self love. So when you really appreciate yourself and you're really just honoring yourself, all of a sudden you're seated on a royal throne. Your meditation position is your chariot. It is also your throne. And you are the emperor. You are the empress. You are the ruler. You are the divine guest. And when you really understand that, you take your power back. And then you start to ascend the three lower chakras. And you move into the heart chakra, which is equal exchange. It's I receive all and I give all. So a source of abundance. And it's like endless wealth, the heart chakra. But it's founded firmly on that third chakra of self appreciation. Notice how there is like a shift in the conversation we're having and the language we're using. With this, raising our awareness, our consciousness, our focus, um, we've created space for ourselves by grounding and centering. And then we invited ourselves into that space with being with ourselves. We've invited ourselves into a space that we created. So a lot of people don't think about this for meditation, but this is the same tools of meditation. This blueprint I'm giving you is also the same of ascension. And so here you are now in your heart. And you're like, I've taken care of myself. I'm firmly rooted in who I am and what I am and where I am. I'm now in a position where I can give and be a sunshine to the world. From my little place on this planet, this little spark of light can illuminate the whole world. And I don't have to get up and say anything. I don't have to do anything. I can just be here in self and appreciation. And when you really appreciate yourself, you feel wealthy. You feel like you're solid gold. So want and need automatically are eliminated. You're like, well, I have myself. That's all I've ever needed. So boundaries have been created with working these lower chakras. By grounding ourselves, we created the first boundary. By centering ourselves, we really created a boundary. By diving into self-appreciation and self-love, we really created a beautiful boundary or psychic shield that harms nobody. It's the way of peace. It's the way of the masters. And because our energy now shifted from negative to positive through self-appreciation, so we couldn't even get to self-appreciation until we were centered. We had to gather our energy back. I didn't need someone from outside of myself. I didn't need a holy person. I didn't need words of wisdom. I didn't need all that. I needed to do something about it. I needed to do it. That's the difference between religion and spirituality. Religion is spiritual bypassing. It has other people doing it for you. It has a God, it has a savior, it has a book, it has a priest, it has rituals, it has formalities, it has rules, it's all doing it kind of for you. And you're not responsible. True spirituality, you do the work. You had to make the decision to sit centered and be with yourself until it starts to feel good. Be with those negative feelings until they drop. Be with that crazy mind of yours until it calms down. And the clouds and the dirt and the dust clears. And the sun emerges. And then you feel so much better. And it was kind of like a rebirth, and you haven't even started your meditation yet. You know, you haven't even, what's happening is you're ascending, but you're also priming yourself for meditation. And so now we get to the throat chakra, the end of the ego, head cut off. But it's also the center of purity, where you're being mindful of what you listen to, what you allow into your space, the filter process. You know, in a culture where everyone's thyroids and hormones are out of control, like not working anymore, it's because where they're neglecting purity, which is also morality, which is also the word of wisdom, which is, you know, so there's a level of self control that needs to happen. And through self awareness, I look out into the world, people ingesting these things, and it brings death. They talk this way, and it brings ruined relationships, you know? And so we start taking accountability and responsibility here in the throat chakra. What nourishes me? What will I bring into my mind, into my heart, into my spirit? What will I let settle into my soul? You know, wouldn't it be nice to look out and see? Wouldn't it be nice to know? And so, all this information coming in, you need to make a decision. Is this good for me? Is this good for my heart? Is this good for my body? Is this good for my soul? If the answer is yes, go for it. If it's not, you're going to figure that out pretty fast. You're not going to feel well. So, purity, you know, and true expression. When you are centered and aligned in your to that positive self-appreciation, self-love, and this openness, when you're open, you've actually expanded your aura and you've expanded your range to pick up through the dimensions information. So you can probably intuitively channel truth, see truth, speak truth, and come from a higher place. You can, like, it's like you have your crown on now, and you experience your own spiritual sovereignty, your own inner master, your own place in the fabric of life, in the web of life. And when you're in it, seated, and you have that crown on, because you've prepared yourself, you're not overthinking, you're not escaping through imagination and fantasies, worrying about the past and the future, the wrong use of the brain. Spiritual